It's not being able to see your dick worth a world record total. If it's an all-time world record total, yeah, it's worth it. I mean, you can always lift the shit up and it still works, right?
Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky.
Do you recommend one-on-one personal training or group training when it comes to training powerlifting, such as website? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about like having clients that you're going to train this way? I don't understand really the question, so I'm going to answer it in a different way and hope that I'm right. If you're going to be training Westside or Conjugate, then yes, it's way better in a group. I think any powerlifting training is way better in a group than it is one-to-one. Far and away, no comparison. So we'll just leave it at that. Can Adderall help a workout? It depends. Are you falling asleep in the middle of your workout? Are you taking Adderall for a reason of narcolepsy and passing out? Well, then it could probably help tremendously. I used to have a training partner that we used to take pictures of it. Actually, this was before Instagram and videos. I saw him fall asleep putting a shoe on. I saw him fall asleep leaning against a reverse hyper machine. I saw him fall asleep laying on a bench, waiting between sets of max effort work. I saw him fall asleep multiple times just sitting on the bench. I saw him fall asleep multiple times sitting in his car. So would Adderall have helped him? Tremendously. If you're taking Adderall as a stimulant boost, then I would refer you to look at the table talk conversation I had with Justin Harris on pre-workout drinks and use that as a reference on how I feel about that. What is the story of the blown out denim bench shirt that you wore in the old training videos? It wasn't just me. It was, Louis did it too. I think he probably invented it. Actually, I'm sure he invented it. What we found is my shoulders were fucked. I already had pec tears and shoulder problems. We found that if we put a bench shirt on with the sleeves cut off and we pulled it back, to kind of pull the scapula up just a little bit, and then it set our shoulders in a position that we were allowed to train and definitely reduce the amount of pec strains by far and reduce the amount of pain and shoulder pain that I had when I trained. I used it sparingly. I didn't use it for my warm-up sets. I only used it really for the heavier sets. Then I would take it back off again. Oddly enough, it's very similar what we were doing as to what the Donnie Thompson bow tie is right now. When I put his bow tie on, it's the same feeling as what I used to have with that bench shirt. So I think you can get the same thing, maybe even a little bit better with the bow tie, but the bow tie obviously isn't gonna look as badass as a cut off denim bench shirt, but that's a different story. But it's pretty much the same concept. I think that the bow tie though does it a little bit better, at least the way that I felt with it, and you can wear it more frequently. I didn't answer this to be a plug for the bow tie. It's just, that's kind of what we were doing, and I didn't even think about it until reading this question. Is it true that your body fat should be the same number as your body wide depth? No. And should your cholesterol equal your body weight for max amylism? If you want it to be, man. We'll just leave it at that. Some of these do make me laugh, so I appreciate when you guys throw through stuff to kind of crack me up, because I don't look at these really until I get out here. As a novice lifter with 16 weeks to my meet, would you advise 2 8-week blocks rather than one 16-week block? It depends on how you're training. If you're using a linear method, then yes. If you're using a block periodization method, no. If you're using a Westside or conjugate method, then the 16-week would be a little bit better because everything rotates in different phases anyhow. I'll try to see if I can work that into one of the later questions. Better for strength carryover, parallel box, high box, considering you can go heavier on the high box. You know what, I like this question. It's not gonna take a long time to answer. It depends on what your technique is. Where people are really fucking up the box squat is how they box squat is not the same as how they squat when you take the box away. It all has to deal with your knee and heel position. And I can get in debates about that on where your and heel position should be in the squat. And I can debate one side, I can debate the other side, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you think that you need to do. So if that knee position and heel position is the same when you take the box out, then it's going to be fine. Now, that also carries over to the parallel box, to the high box. If you're going to squat on a high box, but you're going to do it with a super wide stance, and then your parallel box, you're using a medium stance, it's irrelevant. You know, the higher box for most people is going to be used to get accumulated to heavier weights, depending how high the box is. We're talking 3, 4, 5 inches above parallel. I do recommend a higher box for people who are rehabilitating from hip problems and trying to keep the hip joint, not the crease of the hip, a little bit higher than 90 degrees. Is going to provide less wear and tear on the hip joint, and then going lower. How do I know this? I've had my hip replaced, going to have the other one replaced, so I know exactly how the hip works and what the restrictions are. If you can squat X amount on a 20-inch box, does that mean you're going to squat X amount on a 14-inch box? No, it doesn't. What matters, and if you want to know what it is, you test yourself on each box and you go based upon that. Do I think there's a place for high box squats? Yes. Do I think there's a place for parallel box squats? Yes. Low box squats? Yes. It all depends on what type of periodization you're using. This is one of those things where the more specific the question can be, the better I can answer it. If I had to answer this using a block training protocol, it's going to be different than if I was to answer it using a conjugate training protocol. Anything to keep in mind for those that train alone? Yeah, don't be a dumbass. You know, if you use spot pins, you know, make sure you're always safe. Never assume the worst isn't going to happen. Never expect the worst, but never assume it won't happen. So if you're benching, make sure you have the pin set up. Make sure you have an exit plan in case something's to blow off at any point in time. You know, that's the number one rule if you're going to train alone. Everything else is fucking secondary. As far as motivation, what exercises, you can work all that. You've already worked that out. Where I see the mistakes when I look at the Instagram videos, and a lot of times I like to call them the videos of death, is it seems like all these people are doing these exercises, but not one of them has even put any degree of thought into, oh, fuck, what would happen if my patella tendon blew out right now? Or what would happen if my pec blew out right now? Well, in most cases, they're going to take their head off, or they're going to end up making the injury far worse because there's nothing set up to spot them. That's a quick answer on that one. Bread, peanut butter, jelly, bread, or bread, jelly, peanut butter. Just, fuck. What are you asking?
You flipped over regardless.
Fuck that. Here's the deal. Take out a toaster. Toast the bread, take the bread out, layer some butter on the bread. Put a layer of peanut butter on the bread. Put a layer of jelly on the bread. Eat the 4 slices like open sandwiches. Bam, done. You increase your calorie content. You got more calories per bite. You're winning.
And it tastes better.
Oh my God, did I just say winning? You know, what am I? I'm going to bring it back to that hashtag winning thing. Man, if I only had his problems.
Charlie Sheen. Haven't heard much of him lately.
How would you recommend structuring a workout for 25 high school athletes? If I was the coach of 25 plus high school athletes, I would walk into the gym, I would look at them, I would turn around and walk the fuck out. I've heard the horror stories, and I have so much respect for those guys that work with high school athletes that, you know, I am just joking around here. I would keep it simple, man. You heard through the table talks that I did with Jim Wendler. He uses exercises like goblet squats with the kids, push-ups, chin-ups. Use very simple exercises that you can progress off of. When you're working with high school athletes, man, you have a great responsibility because you not only have to develop their strength, in some cases you have to try to develop their strength when they're not even really producing testosterone. They don't have the aggressiveness enough or the work ethic really to drive and to push hard. But you're conditioning them to how they're going to be and how they're going to work later on in life. And you're also exposing them to training for the first time in their life that they may or may not continue to do after they leave high school. So structuring the training, I would make it simple, I would make it effective, and I would make it a positive experience so it's something that they're going to want to do for the rest of their lives. After that, then I would worry about, is this going to have the greatest correspondence to whatever sport they're playing? Just getting stronger is going to have a great correspondence to whatever sport they're going to train. And if they suck and they're weak and they can get stronger just by doing basic calisthenics, then that's what you have them do. Don't make it too complicated. Craziest workout you ever did at Westside? I'll come back to that one.
Or anywhere, really, for that matter.
Yeah, I got a good one for that. That's going to take a little bit more time. As a powerlifter looking to lean out, what is the best options in doing so? Just don't. You're a powerlifter. When you get up on the platform to fucking squat, nobody's going to say, hey dude, can you pull your singlet down and show me your abs? Just fucking train to be strong. If you're too fat, then make better decisions on the food that you eat. In this day and age, I'm tired of people fucking saying that they're so confused, they don't know what to eat because it's overcomplicated. Seriously? You don't know that a fucking ho-ho is probably a bad choice compared to a fucking apple? And I don't want to hear, oh, the apple's got fructose and the ho-ho's got fucking sugar and they're both sugar. The fucking apple's better. This is a choice of one or the other. Make better choices. It's that easy. You're a power lifter. Get in a good amount of macronutrients. Oh my God, I said macros. Get in a good amount of good food. And if you're too fat, then take out some of the shit crap that you're eating and lose that. You don't have to look at a power lifter and say, oh my God, look at this guy. He's super fucking strong and he has abs. That's what I want to be. You are you. And if you're a power lifter, the most important thing is going to be what your fucking total is on the platform. What you're going to look like when you do that, it's going to be based upon your training genetics and all the other kind of stuff. So you can't sit there and say, I want to be like this guy and then aspire to look like him when it's a strength sport. That's fucking stupid. That would be like a bodybuilder, a competitive bodybuilder looking at another competitive bodybuilder and say, you know what, I want to be as strong as that guy, but I don't give a fuck what I look like. So then he gets up on stage just as strong as that guy, but it looks like shit. I see where you're going, but if you're gonna compete in the sport of powerlifting, you wanna become better, you gotta get your priorities a little bit more in line. What is the ideal and optimum body fat? This kind of falls in with that one question. I will say that your body fat as a power lifter, you should try to keep it under 14%, maybe even a little bit lower, 12 to 14%, unless you're a 308 super heavyweight, and then try to keep it under 20, 24%, 22%, 20%, somewhere in that range. And that's using calipers, 7-site calipers, of somebody who knows what they're doing. Those numbers can change based upon how the body fat's taken. That's a huge injury question. I'm going to skip that one. It's a very specific one, so I may come back to it and read it a little bit more. This rapid fire thing isn't becoming very fucking rapid fire, so I'm going to start going through a little bit quicker. How did I deal with people consistently hitting on me in the gym? Dude, look at me, I'm fucking ugly. Nobody ever once in my life hit on me in the gym. Never had that problem. This could be a female kind of asking, how can she deal with all the dickhead guys that are hitting on her in the gym all the time? Just tell them go away. I don't know how to answer that because I've not been put in that position, but I will tell you this, and just in general, just tell them to go the fuck away, that you're there to train, and they'll respect that. If you try to be super nice about it and you're not direct about it, they're just going to keep fucking doing it. So just tell them to get the fuck away. And then out squat them. Then after you do that, they're not going to come back anymore. Is not being able to see your dick worth a world record total? If it's an all-time world record total, yeah, it's worth it. I mean, you can always lift the shit up and it still works, right? I mean, all you're going to have is the flap, you know. So you just it doesn't matter, man. If it's not a world record and it's some bullshit total, then I don't know. You might have to think twice about it. Law enforcement, what type of cardio, dieting, trying to reach an elite level. I don't know what your elite level, if it's an elite level of powerlifting and you're in law enforcement and you're and you need to be able to keep your cardio and your conditioning because of your job, you're going to have to keep. I'm going to go a little bit out of my what I consider a comfort zone when it comes to strength and conditioning, because I don't train law enforcement officers, but I have a pretty good idea on this one. You can maintain in a certain degree of high intensity interval training, things such as the prowler, different types of circuits that you can do that can aid in the strength development and also aid in the recovery of a strength and conditioning program. But what you put in, as Jim said very, very well in one of the table talks we did, you have to be able to pull out. So you may have to, what you put in, you should pull out. That's kind of funny if you think about it. You're going to have to, if you're doing a lot of accessory work, you're going to have to take out some of the accessory work to be able to put that in, to be able to maintain the conditioning on that one. What I'm going to do here on this is, because I'm giving you a really simplified answer, I'm going to leave this open and I'm going to make this the last of the rapid fire questioning. So if anybody is in, law enforcement or dealing with the same scenario that he's dealing with, they're a power lifter in, law enforcement or firefighting, any tactical type of conditioning, please make a comment either on the YouTube channel or on Facebook or on the article post for this, and help the guy out. I always praise, live, learn, and pass on, so I'm going to challenge you guys here to, help the guy out and see what kind of questions or see what kind of answers you can toss out to help him, and what kind of resources you can guide him to, and leave it at that.